Commander Elaine Bryant stood by the viewport of the diplomatic vessel, watching the massive space station grow larger. The structure was unlike anything humans had built, a graceful spiral of metal and light that housed the Galactic Council. After decades of searching the stars for other intelligent life, humanity had finally made contact just 6 months ago. Now, Elaine was about to become the first human to address the full council. "Commander, are you ready? We dock in 10 minutes, said Lieutenant Jack Nichols. Jack was tall and solid, a military man assigned to protect the diplomatic team. He looked uncomfortable in his formal uniform. "As ready as I'll ever be," Elaine replied, smoothing her own uniform. "Any idea why they called this emergency meeting? Our first official contact wasn't scheduled for another month." Jack shook his head. "No, ma'am. But I don't like how our escort ships keep their distance. It's almost like they're afraid of us." The ship docked with a gentle bump. Elaine and Jack waited by the airlock with their small team. When the doors slid open, 3 aliens stood waiting. They had pale blue skin, large eyes, and 4 arms. Their translator badges hummed softly. "Welcome to Unity Station," said the tallest alien, but Elaine noticed it stood unusually far back. "I am Coordinator Zex. Please follow me to the council chambers." As they walked through the station's wide corridors, Elaine saw aliens of different shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human. Others were completely different, floating gas bags, insect-like creatures, or things that resembled walking plants. But they all did the same thing when they saw the humans. They moved away quickly. "Lieutenant," Elaine whispered, "are you seeing this?" Jack nodded. "They're scared of us." "But why? We're the ones with the primitive technology here." The council chamber was huge, with hundreds of seats arranged in circles. Most were empty, with holographic projections of aliens filling them instead. Only about 20 representatives were physically present, all seated far from the human delegation. "The emergency session of the Galactic Council will now begin," announced a tall, thin alien with silvery skin. "I am High Counselor Vreen. We welcome the representatives from planet Earth." Elaine stepped forward to speak, but before she could, a small amphibious being across the room made a strange gurgling sound and collapsed. "Please forgive Counselor Meb," said Vreen. "Your presence is overwhelming for some species." "I don't understand," said Elaine. "We come in peace." A deep voice rumbled from a massive, rock-like alien. "It is not your intentions that concern us, human. It is your nature." Holograms appeared in the center of the room, images of Earth. Hurricanes, volcanoes, blizzards, deserts. "Your planet has been classified as a Class 15 Deathworld," said Vreen. "The highest danger rating in our system. Before your discovery, we believed nothing above Class 9 could support intelligent life." More images appeared: tigers hunting, sharks swimming, eagles diving for prey. "Your world is filled with apex predators," continued Vreen, "and you evolved among them. Your bodies can withstand radiation levels that would kill most species. You can survive temperature ranges that would be fatal to nearly all council races. Your bones break and you continue fighting. Your skin tears and you keep moving." The chamber was silent. Elaine looked at Jack, who seemed as confused as she was. "Your kind routinely drinks neurotoxins for pleasure," added another alien, its voice shaking. "You deliberately expose yourselves to dangerous radiation to darken your skin. Your entertainment involves watching simulated death and violence. We had to debate even allowing you onto this station," said Vreen. "Many counselors feared for their safety. The question before us is simple but difficult. What do we do about the apex predators who have now joined our galactic community?" Elaine felt a chill run down her spine. These advanced aliens weren't afraid of human weapons or technology. They were afraid of humans themselves. "High Counselor," she said carefully, "we may have evolved on a harsh world, but that has made us strong, not violent. We've come to learn and share knowledge." "Perhaps," said Vreen. "But the Council must decide. If the galaxy is ready for humans, or if humans are ready for the galaxy. Dr. Olivia Peterson squinted at her screen as new data poured in from the Galactic Council's scientific archives. After Commander Bryant's shocking first contact meeting, Earth's scientists had been granted limited access to alien research databases. As a xenobiologist, Olivia was tasked with understanding why humans were considered so dangerous. "This can't be right," she muttered, running the comparison again. Her lab at the United Earth Science Division was quiet at 3 a.m., just how she liked it. The door slid open, and Alan Rice from Diplomatic Services entered with 2 cups of coffee. His rumpled suit suggested he hadn't slept either. "Please tell me you have good news," he said, handing her a cup. Olivia pointed to her screen. "Define good. I've been comparing human biological capabilities to galactic norms. The results are surprising." Alan leaned closer. "Surprising how?" "Well, take this Trilaxian species. They're considered quite physically capable by galactic standards. They can exert themselves for about 7 minutes before needing to rest. Most species in the database average 3 to 5 minutes. "And humans?" Alan asked. "We can go for hours. Marathon runners can maintain physical exertion for over 4 hours. Even average humans can walk for hours without rest." Olivia scrolled to another chart. "And our healing abilities might as well be magic to them. Most species never evolved rapid tissue regeneration because they never needed it." Alan sipped his coffee. "The council representatives seemed terrified by the fact that we break bones and continue moving. Is that unusual?" "Extremely. For most species, a broken limb means death. Their pain responses shut down their bodies entirely. Pain for them isn't a warning system like it is for us. It's a full-stop command." In another part of the world, Admiral Joseph Grant reviewed security footage from the council meeting. The aging military man had seen many things in his career, but the fear in the alien's eyes troubled him. His aide, Lieutenant Kara Foster, entered his office with a tablet. "Sir, we've intercepted communications between several council races. I think you should see this." The Admiral read the translated messages, his expression darkening. "They're discussing containment protocols for Earth, and some are suggesting sterilization measures." "Yes, sir. A faction called the Purifiers seems particularly concerned about human expansion. They're citing historical precedents where predator species wiped out entire civilizations." "Are we that dangerous to them?" the Admiral asked. "According to their medical data, yes. A friendly pat on the back from a human could break the bones of 40% of council races. Our normal speaking volume is painful to their ears. Even our body temperature could cause burns to some species if we maintained contact for too long." The Admiral stood and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. "So we're monsters to them, simply because we survived on Earth." "There's more, sir. The Council is split. Some see us as a threat to be contained. Others see potential. They've never encountered a species that could survive extreme conditions. Some believe we could help with rescue operations on worlds too dangerous for their people to visit." At the temporary Earth embassy on Unity Station, Commander Bryant met with the few alien diplomats brave enough to speak with her directly. One of them, a tall insect-like being named Kirik, seemed less frightened than the others. "Your people don't understand what you are," Kirik said, his translator making his clicks and chirps into words. "You evolved on a world that should have killed you. Your gravity would crush most of us. Your atmospheric pressure would cause our bodies to rupture. Your solar radiation would cook our cells. It's just home to us," Elaine replied simply. "Exactly." Kirik's compound eyes gleamed. "What is deadly becomes normal when you adapt to it. The question now is whether the galaxy can adapt to humans, or if humans will adapt the galaxy to them." As Elaine pondered this, an urgent message came through from Earth. Admiral Grant's face appeared on her screen, his expression grim. "Commander, we have a situation. A faction in the Council is pushing for Earth's quarantine, possibly worse. We need you to buy us time." Elaine looked back at Kirik. It seems some of your colleagues find us too dangerous to allow into the galactic community. Can you blame them? Kirik asked. You are creatures who evolved to survive the unsurvivable. That makes you either the galaxy's greatest allies or its worst nightmare. The red dust of Mars swirled around the Earth outpost as alarms blared through the corridors. Staff Sergeant Allison Martinez grabbed her weapon and ran toward the breach in the western airlock. The attack had come without warning. 6 alien ships landing just outside the perimeter, deploying what looked like armored troops. Status report. She shouted into her comm as she rounded a corner. 24 hostiles inside the base, replied Corporal Ben Harris. They're carrying some kind of containers. Might be explosives or bioweapons. Allison gritted her teeth. The Mars outpost was mostly scientists and engineers with only a small security team of 12 people. They were outnumbered 2 to 1. All personnel, fall back to safe zones, she ordered. Security team, converge on western section. Do not let them reach the central hub. The first alien Allison encountered was tall and reptilian, covered in what looked like advanced battle armor. It fired some kind of energy weapon that scorched the wall beside her head. She rolled, fired 3 shots, and watched in surprise as the alien fell instantly. Their armor was advanced, but they moved slowly, almost cautiously. Another alien turned the corner, saw its fallen comrade, and froze for a crucial second. Allison didn't hesitate. 2 more shots, and the second attacker was down. They're not used to combat, she realized. Their movements were hesitant, their reactions delayed. Over the next 20 minutes, Allison's small team systematically eliminated or captured all 24 attackers. What should have been an overwhelming force had crumbled against defenders who were used to Earth's gravity, who could move quickly, who didn't freeze when injured. When the fighting ended, Allison stood in the command center with blood running down her arm from a deep cut. One of the captured aliens stared at her in obvious terror. How are you still standing? It asked through a translator. Your arm is severed. Allison looked down at her injury, a nasty gash, but hardly life-threatening. It's just a scratch. The alien made a sound like a whimper. On Unity Station, the emergency council meeting had devolved into chaos as footage from the Mars attack spread across galactic networks. The images of humans continuing to fight despite injuries shocked most alien species. This is exactly what we warned you about, shouted a counselor from the Purifier faction. These predators shrug off wounds that would kill any of us. They killed our intervention team in minutes. Commander Bryant stood before the council, struggling to maintain her composure. You call armed attackers carrying bioweapons an intervention team. They attacked a scientific outpost. High Counselor Vreen raised all 4 of his hands for silence. This unauthorized action by the Purifiers has only made the situation worse. Now we have proof of human combat capabilities. The footage played again on the chamber's main screen. Martinez taking down 3 attackers while bleeding, other humans fighting hand-to-hand against larger aliens and winning easily. In the back of the chamber, Dr. Samuel Wright, Earth's leading xenopsychologist, watched the council's reactions carefully. After the session ended, he approached Commander Bryant. Their fear isn't rational, he said quietly. It's deeply instinctual. We need to change our approach. What do you suggest? Bryant asked. A cultural exchange program. Let them see us as individuals, not monsters. Show them humans caring for each other, creating art, helping the weak. Help them understand that evolving on a death world made us cooperative, not just dangerous. Bryant looked skeptical. You think any of them will volunteer to come to Earth? Maybe not Earth right away, but we could invite them to the moon base. Lower gravity might make them more comfortable. Samuel smiled. And we'll need brave humans willing to visit their worlds too. That evening, Bryant took the proposal to a private meeting with moderate council members. Most seemed doubtful, but one, the insect-like Kirik, spoke in favor. Fear thrives in ignorance, Kirik said. Perhaps understanding is the antidote. High Counselor Vreen considered for a long moment. A cultural exchange would be unprecedented with a newly discovered species, but so is discovering intelligent life on a Class 15 world. He turned to Bryant. We will allow a limited program, under strict safety protocols. Bryant nodded, hiding her relief. It wasn't much, but it was a start. A small crack in the wall of fear. Captain Frank Delgado stepped off the shuttle onto the gleaming surface of Harmonious Accord, the nearest Galactic Alliance hub world. The gravity was lighter than Earth's, making him feel almost bouncy. The air smelled sweet, like flowers and fruit. Remember, he told his team of 5 human specialists, we're here to learn and to teach. These people think we're monsters. Let's prove them wrong. Their alien guide, Mira, belonged to a species called the Vel. She had purple skin, 4 arms, and moved with a grace that seemed almost like dancing. Her eyes were wide with a mixture of fear and curiosity. The learning center is this way, she said, keeping a careful distance from the humans. Many scholars wish to speak with you, though from behind safety barriers. Frank nodded politely. Whatever makes them comfortable. The learning center was a massive building with curved walls and ceilings so high they disappeared into mist. Hundreds of aliens moved about inside, but they all stopped and stared when the humans entered. Professor Linda Garcia, the team's anthropologist, whispered to Frank, "Notice how everything here is smooth. No sharp edges anywhere. Even their writing uses only curves." Over the next few days, the humans met with alien scientists of many species. They learned that most sentient races in the galaxy evolved on worlds very different from Earth. Your planet changes constantly, explained an elderly alien named Zox, who studied planetary development. Seasons, storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, these are rare or non-existent on most homeworlds. Life needs stability to develop intelligence. But Earth was never stable, said Frank. Exactly, replied Zox. That is why you are the way you are. In the evenings, the human team would discuss what they learned. They discovered that most alien species had evolved on worlds with little climate change, faced few natural dangers, never developed strong muscles because their gravity was weaker, had simple immune systems because disease was rare, could not handle pain, stress, or injury. They never needed to adapt the way we did, said Linda. They never had to survive ice ages or droughts or predators. Their bodies are specialized for their stable worlds. Meanwhile, on Earth's moon base, a small group of alien scientists prepared for their visit to the human homeworld. There were 5 of them, led by Xorteka, a researcher from a species called the Drax, one of the hardier races in the Alliance. Remember your training, he told his nervous team. The humans have assured us that the moon base is safe. The gravity is only 1/6 of Earth's. We will gradually work up to visiting the planet itself. Despite these reassurances, when the human greeting party met them at the airlock, 2 of the aliens fainted at the sight of humans up close. Xorteka remained standing, though his scales trembled slightly. Welcome to Luna Base, said Dr. Olivia Peterson, extending a hand but stopping short of touching the alien. We're honored by your bravery. That night, Earth was visible through the dome of the visitors' quarters, a blue and white sphere hanging in the blackness. The aliens stared at it with a mixture of wonder and dread. So much water, whispered one. So many weather systems. How can anything survive such chaos? Their first week on the moon went well. The aliens were fascinated by human culture, art, and especially food, though they could not eat it. Then, on the 8th day, something unexpected happened. A small moonquake, barely noticeable to the humans, shook the base for 10 seconds. All 5 aliens went into what the humans later learned was a panic shock response. Their bodies froze completely, a survival mechanism from their evolutionary past. It took 3 hours for them to recover. When they did, Xorteka looked at Olivia with new understanding. You didn't even react to the shaking, he said. On my world, Ground movement means death. But for you, for us, it's just Tuesday, said Olivia with a gentle smile. Lorteka made a gesture the humans had not seen before. Later they learned it was one of deep respect. I begin to understand why your kind survived a Class 15 world, he said quietly. What terrifies us barely registers to you. The question is no longer how you survived such a planet, but what your survival has made you capable of. Intelligence Officer Natalie Ramirez studied the files on her secure tablet. For 3 weeks, she had been tracking strange patterns in the Galactic Alliance communications. Something wasn't right. The official messages between species were friendly, but hidden beneath them was another layer of secret exchanges. I found something, she said to Admiral Grant. They sat in a secure room deep within Earth Defense Headquarters. What is it? Asked the Admiral. Natalie placed her tablet on the table. There's a group operating within the Alliance called the Preservers. They're ancient, sir, much older than the official Galactic Council, and they have a specific purpose. She pulled up documents and translations. They exist to prevent what they call apex predator species from joining the galactic community. Species like us. The Admiral leaned forward. What exactly have they done? According to these records, they've orchestrated the extinction of 3 other species over the past 50,000 years. Species that evolved on harsh worlds like Earth. Natalie's voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly. And now they're targeting us. At that moment, on the edges of the solar system, 3 human outposts went dark simultaneously. The small research stations on Jupiter's moons Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto stopped transmitting without warning. On Unity Station, Commander Bryant received emergency messages from Earth just as she was meeting with friendly council members. Her face paled as she read the reports. What is it? Asked Kirik, the insect-like diplomat who had become something of an ally. 3 of our research stations have been attacked, she said, and there's evidence it was coordinated by a group within the Alliance. Before Kirik could respond, the main communication screens in the meeting room lit up with images that made Bryant gasp. The screens showed humans attacking alien children, destroying peaceful settlements, and laughing while setting fire to alien art and literature. These are fakes, Bryant said immediately. None of this happened. But many council representatives were already leaving the room, their fear of humans apparently confirmed. Security forces began moving toward Bryant and her team. This was planned, Kirik clicked urgently. Someone is trying to stop the progress we've made. Back on Earth, Dr. Samuel Wright was reviewing the psychological profiles of the aliens who had visited the moon base. He noticed something odd. Their fear responses had gradually decreased over time as they interacted with humans. This contradicted the sudden wave of fear sweeping through the Galactic Council. It doesn't make sense, he told Olivia Peterson. The aliens who actually meet us become less afraid. Yet the Council is more terrified than ever. Olivia pulled up the latest data from the Mars outpost. Look at this. We captured some kind of data device from one of the attackers. It contains records going back thousands of years, talking about Earth. Samuel stared at the translated text on the screen. Earth was visited before. Thousands of years ago. Yes, and it was classified as too dangerous to allow into the galactic community even then. These preservers have been watching us, waiting for us to develop space travel so they could deal with us. On harmonious accord, Frank Delgado and his team were suddenly placed under guard. The friendly interactions of the previous weeks vanished overnight. What's happening? Frank asked their guards, but received no answer. In their locked quarters, Linda Garcia whispered to Frank, I don't think it's a coincidence that all alien species are suddenly afraid again. Someone is manipulating them. Frank nodded, and I bet it's the same people who attacked our outposts. They're trying to make us look like monsters. Across the galaxy, emergency sessions of the Galactic Council debated the human threat. The purifiers openly called for Earth's destruction, while moderate voices were increasingly silenced. Only Kirik spoke publicly in defense of humans. "We fear what we do not understand," he told the council. "And someone is using that fear against both humans and the Alliance." In her cell on Unity Station, Commander Bryant stared at the stars visible through a small window. Earth was out there somewhere, possibly facing destruction because an ancient group had decided that humans, who had survived the crucible of a Class 15 Deathworld, were too dangerous to live. Professor Daniel Kelly was not a military man or a politician. He was simply a cultural anthropologist who had spent his life studying how different human societies adapted to their environments. Now, locked in the same detention area as Commander Bryant on Unity Station, he realized that those studies might save humanity. "Commander, I need to address the council," he said urgently. "They won't listen," Bryant replied. "The preservers have convinced them we're monsters." "Not all of them believe it," Daniel insisted. "And I think I can prove we're not the threat they fear." Through Kirik's help, Daniel was granted a brief hearing before a small group of council members who still had doubts about the anti-human propaganda. He brought with him something simple: human art. "These are cave paintings from 40,000 years ago," he explained, showing images of ancient artwork. "Notice that even our earliest art doesn't just show hunting or fighting. It shows family groups, celebrations, spiritual ceremonies." He displayed more: Greek sculptures, Renaissance paintings, music, poetry, and modern films, all showing human connection, compassion, and cooperation. "If we were only predators, our art would glorify only killing," Daniel explained. "But our greatest works celebrate love, beauty, and working together. Earth's harshness didn't make us monsters. It taught us that we need each other to survive." Some council members seemed moved, but others remained skeptical. "Pretty pictures don't change biological facts," said one. "Your species evolved to be dangerous." "Yes," Daniel admitted. "But evolution gave us something else: the ability to choose. We can choose cooperation over conflict. Most of us do, every day." As Daniel spoke, far away from Unity Station, Commander Eric Valdez and the crew of the EDS Pathfinder were on a routine patrol near the border of human space. They picked up a distress signal from a Galactic Alliance transport ship. "Life signs," Valdez asked his sensor officer. 32 aliens, sir. Their engines are failing and their life support is critical. It looks like they were attacked." Valdez didn't hesitate, moved to assist. As the Pathfinder approached, they could see the Alliance ship was badly damaged. "Sir," said the communications officer, "I'm getting their ID. This ship is carrying council representatives, including some who voted to quarantine Earth." Valdez paused for just a moment. These might be the same aliens who wanted humanity contained or even destroyed. But there was only one decision he could make: prepare rescue teams, full medical support. We're bringing them aboard. The rescue was difficult. The Alliance ship was losing atmosphere, and some sections were exposed to vacuum. Human crew members had to carry injured aliens through narrow passages while wearing bulky spacesuits. Lieutenant Grace Cole found herself carrying 3 small aliens, each no bigger than a human child, through a corridor filled with sparking electrical fires. The heat was intense, and the aliens were terrified, but she pushed forward. "It's okay," she told them, though she wasn't sure they understood. "I've got you." When all 32 aliens were safely aboard the Pathfinder, Valdez ordered immediate medical attention for them. The aliens were shocked to see humans working tirelessly to save them, especially when they learned who they were. "Why help us?" asked one council member through a translator. "You know we voted against your people." "Because you needed help," Valdez said simply. "That's all that matters." Back on Unity Station, footage of the rescue reached the council chambers just as Daniel Kelly finished his presentation. The images of humans risking their lives to save aliens who feared them created a powerful impact. "This is what I've been trying to explain," Daniel said, pointing to the screens. "Yes, we evolved on a dangerous world. Yes, we're physically strong, and resilient. But those same pressures that made us dangerous also taught us to help each other. Kirik stepped forward. I move that the Council reconsider its position on humans. The evidence shows that their adaptations to their Deathworld have created not just physical strength, but moral strength as well. For the first time since the crisis began, the tide of fear seemed to be turning. The Preserver's lies were beginning to unravel as more council members saw humans as they truly were, not just survivors of a deadly world, but beings whose harsh evolution had forged compassion alongside strength. A massive solar flare erupted from the star that Harmonious Accord orbited. Such events were extremely rare in this stable system, happening only once every 1,000 years. The peaceful inhabitants of the planet had never experienced anything like it. The planetary shields, designed for normal solar radiation, began to fail under the intense bombardment. Panic spread across the world as millions of aliens faced a disaster they had no evolutionary preparation to handle. Frank Delgado and his team, still under loose guard on the planet, felt the change immediately. The air became warmer. Warning sirens blared across the city. "What's happening?" Frank asked their guard, who seemed distracted and afraid. "Solar storm. Very bad. Shields failing," the alien replied, its usual formal language breaking down in fear. Frank looked at his team. "We've dealt with radiation on Earth. We might be able to help." Despite the lingering suspicion toward humans, the local authorities were desperate enough to accept Frank's offer of assistance. His team quickly organized shelter plans, prioritizing underground areas that would provide natural radiation protection. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbital command center, Admiral Grant received the emergency signals from Harmonious Accord. "Sir, Alliance authorities are requesting emergency evacuation assistance," said Lieutenant Foster. "Their ships can't handle the radiation levels to reach the planet." The Admiral didn't hesitate. "Launch all available rescue craft. Contact the other human colonies. We need every ship with radiation shielding." Within hours, a fleet of human vessels approached Harmonious Accord. Their hulls, designed to withstand Earth's harsh conditions, could handle the solar radiation that was crippling alien technology. Lieutenant Kate Summers led the first team to land on the planet's surface. The temperature was rising rapidly as the atmosphere struggled to deflect the radiation. "This is nothing compared to summer in Arizona," she told her nervous crew. "Let's move. There are people who need our help." All across the planet, human rescue teams worked tirelessly in conditions that would be uncomfortable for them, but lethal to most aliens. They carried the injured, set up emergency shelters, and repaired critical infrastructure while wearing only basic radiation gear. The aliens watched in amazement as humans functioned for hours in heat and radiation levels that would kill most species in minutes. What they had feared as dangerous predator traits, human endurance, strength, and radiation resistance, were now saving millions of lives. On Unity Station, the Galactic Council monitored the rescue efforts. The leader of the Preservers faction, now exposed, was under guard as his centuries of deception unraveled. "We were wrong," admitted High Counselor Vreen, watching humans carry alien children to safety. What evolved on that Deathworld was not a threat, but a gift to the galaxy. 3 weeks after the disaster, when the solar storm finally subsided, a formal ceremony was held on Unity Station. Commander Bryant stood before the full council as they voted unanimously to accept Earth as a full member of the Galactic Alliance. In recognition of humanity's unique evolutionary path, Vreen announced, "We create a new designation. Earth remains classified as a Class 15 Deathworld, but its people will carry the title of Guardian Species, those whose harsh evolution forged not monsters, but protectors." Later, as Ambassador Bryant, her new title, addressed the Council for the first time as Earth's official representative, she spoke plainly. "We don't see ourselves as special," she said. "On Earth, those who help others in danger aren't heroes. They're just being human. When we saw you needed help, we didn't think about politics or past fears. We simply did what anyone would do." The council chamber was silent for a moment. Then Carrick spoke. That, Ambassador Bryant, is precisely what makes your species extraordinary. You cannot see how remarkable you truly are. In the years that followed, humans became valued members of the galactic community. Earth's harsh conditions had prepared humanity not just to survive, but to help others survive too. Special human emergency teams were formed to handle disasters on worlds too dangerous for other species to visit. And across the galaxy, the phrase "tough as a human" became not an insult or a fear, but a compliment of the highest order. Children of many species heard bedtime stories that began, "If you're ever in trouble, don't be afraid. Look for the beings from the Deathworld. They'll help you get home."